The illegal elbow.
Elbow techniques.
This is the elbow.
An elbow from here. I'll throw the elbow.
Yeah, the illegal elbows.
All right, people, we're back, man. Illegal Elbow Radio. Another exciting episode for you guys, man. This is Brian from Illegal Elbow Radio, Illegal Elbow on Twitter.
And this is Dan from MMA Aftermath on Facebook and Twitter.
1, 2, 3.
All right, everybody, we are back. Another exciting. What is going on, Dan? Well, how is MMA Aftermath house?
Pretty busy right now.
Good,
Pretty
man.
busy. Yep.
Good. I hear the dogs kicking it over there, man. They're live.
The dogs are fucking barking. The phone is ringing. The fucking news, MMA news, is flowing in.
Jeez, dude, I know it, man. Well, let's say hell with it and dive right into it. You got huge article, man, and thanks to Fightbook, fightbookmma.com. Very cool guy. Good buddies of ours on Facebook. We met him on Facebook. He supports Illegal Elbow and MMA.
If you guys are any of you guys are writers out there, head on over there. He's looking to hire some writers. So
yeah, no, we should probably edit that out, man, because I want to be one of. No, I'm kidding. No, but yeah, like I said, very cool page, man, and we're reading it right from the
edit
the page
it out.
Here.
Fuck it.
But no, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Yeah, I'd rather have the right person get the job. You know, I'd be interested in it, but I'd rather have the right person get the job. You know what I mean? Because I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have. You know.
Well, the way it's sounding, he's hiring more than one person. You know.
Right. I've looked for writers.
Operation going on there.
I've looked for writers too, but I probably don't have as many followers on my page as he does. You know what I mean? Coker doing huge things, man, big things over at Bellator already. I mean, it's just this guy's barely a couple weeks in now.
And waiting around.
And yeah, he's not waiting around. He did that huge firing where he had a bunch of guys, let a bunch of guys go, and it's like, that's great because that's a lot of, probably, you know, a substantial amount of money that they're putting out, you know, for guys that just don't seem to make sense, you know, and Coker's probably got a friggin', you know, a Rolodex of guys he can call up and say, hey,
yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're not...
His guys.
Yeah, if you're not, you know, contractually bind to this, you know, whatever organization you're with right now, come on over here, man. I want to put some fights together, man. I'd love to have you along, you know, and it's awesome because.
Or when your contract's up, give me a call.
Right, you know, because I know Manhoof, which it's Paul Daly and Manhoof are signed up in Bellator now, which is fucking fireworks, man. That's fireworks. It's huge. So. With them getting signed, you know, we've just seen Manhoof. I just watched his fight that he had. It might have been a month or two ago, by now, but I just watched one of his fights, and I don't know if it's like I said. I don't know how long ago it was, but so he may be doing the two things at once because I don't think, you know, Coker's even done not co-promotions, but let people go to other promotions even though they got a contract here as well, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So I don't know, maybe he's doing the same kind of thing he was doing before, to where guys will go elsewhere and fight. You know, who knows? But it's awesome. It's huge. A little statement by Daly here, just a quick statement. He said, after months of rumors about me returning to the States with large American promotions, I finally sealed the deal. Explaining Paul Daly. Daly also revealed his plans upon return to MMA's second largest promotion. I'll be headed back this year, smashing some heads, knocking people out, and coming for Douglas Lima, which is Bellator's current welterweight champion. And there's not going to be no damn tournament, so he'll probably get a fight with that dude, you know, probably either right away or...
We'll never see another tournament again like that. Never. And I thank God, because tournaments are bullshit. The only time a tournament works, you're fighting more than one time a night.
Right. Or, you know,
like old school.
Right. Or if they do like the Grand Prix like he did, which I thought was really cool, you know, and they I mean, obviously, like we talked about the whole belt thing, that's a stupid idea because, you know, you don't need a belt. He's the winner of the tournament and he takes on the champ or whatever. You know, and then, you know, it's just, I think it was cool just to add excitement to Strikeforce. It was like Strikeforce to me needed a kick in the ass, and that really did it for me. It was holy shit.
It also took almost 2 years to complete, you know, so. I think there was injuries and shit too, so it was like...
Right. Well, Overeem was one of the injuries, which got Cormier involved, which put Cormier on the map pretty much.
Put Cormier in the map, and speaking of Cormier, we'll be talking about him because there's some big news about Cormier too. So.
Fucking right, man. Hell yes.
Holy hell, son, you're about as useful as a cock-flavored lollipop.
Yep, and that's what they're saying about Chael Sonnen right now. A 2-year ban from any type of let's see what it says here. Former UFC contender was ultimately suspended for 2 years for testing positive for clofamine and astazole, fucking HCG, HGH, and EPO in separate tests given on May 24th and June 5th. He is also forced to pay costs of the tests that ultimately nabbed him. And then from what I hear, these fucking tests are not cheap. So he's going to be paying out of his ass. And I also heard that he's going to be paying some fucking court fees and shit too. So he's fucked. And apparently on the other end, Bellator got a fucking smack on the wrist and basically said that his name was fucking, dragged through the mud. He got off pretty easily.
Yeah, he got reinstated on a conditional license or whatever, licensure or whatever.
But what's your thoughts on all this? Fucking Chael Sonnen, man, fucking exposed.
Well, I mean, as far as him being truthful over the last couple of years, over his UFC tenure, whatever you want to call it, UFC career, he's basically been about as useful as a cock-flavored lollipop. I mean, in terms of telling the truth and testing honestly and all that shit. I mean, it's pretty sad. I mean, when you test bad for all that shit, which even Dana White was saying, which Dana White, you can't put all that much credibility into it because this guy goes back and forth on what whether you can tell he's telling the damn truth or not, who knows? I mean, but he said on a few different occasions that when you can't just jump out of I don't want to make a short story long, but he said you can't just jump out of some of those performance enhancing shit that he got a pass for to take. You have to take other stuff just to work your way out of it. Otherwise, you're going to have like estrogen issues and shit like that. I might be totally saying that wrong, but
side effects, but
yeah, side effects, shit like that. I'm surprised the guy was able to have a damn kid. The kid's, I mean, who knows what kind of effects it might have? We never know. I mean, I'm just,
I reeled off how many five different fucking things he had in his body.
Yeah, I was going to say like 4 or 5 different things. And if he's got to take a cocktail like that in order to get his body back in check, it could be some serious complications. You know what I mean? But who knows? Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, but they say sometimes when you're coming off some of those PEDs and shit, you could start forming some tits if you're not careful. You know what I mean? Trying to wean yourself off of that shit. I've heard. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm assuming that's a lot of it, but it's still, if it's a banned substance, it's a banned substance. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you're caught, and that's it. You know what I mean? So,
but apparently, from what I'm hearing, that this ban does not affect his participation in Metamoris because they have no jurisdiction over Metamoris. So.
Right. Which looks to be pretty damn sweet, man.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get a quick note, man. This is kind of a side note here. I wanted to get. I talked to Dana White earlier a couple weeks ago, and he gave me a quick comment on what happened to UFC 176. Just a quick comment, just to get his words on it.
We did a really bad job.
And that's basically all he would tell me. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. If you don't want to continue talking about it, that's fine, So we hung up, and that was it. But I wanted to at least throw that out there so people know.
We got Andre.
Is it Andre Galvao
versus Chael Sonnen.
Yeah, dude, that dude's good too, man. That dude's he's a known dude, man. Known dude in MMA and you know.
Fucking Dean Lister versus Josh Barnett.
Yep.
War Master. Vinny Magalhaes.
Yeah.
Versus Keenan Cornelius.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, I don't know who they are, but there's some names on there that we know.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We know well. So I mean that's which is really cool because it's seeing a little different thing going on. It's pretty sweet, you know what I mean? And where they can go and compete in it, and UFC's not going to get all pissy about it, you know.
And they're fucking. It's kind of like a raised wrestling mat. That's what it looks like to me. There's no fucking ropes, nothing like that.
No
and
cage.
it's going to be in Los Angeles, California.
Cool.
But its base is probably, like you said, out of Brazil. So this is what
cool,
I see.
though.
It's going to be, you got people with gis in here and shit. So yeah, it's going to be. I'm surprised there's no Gracies up in this bitch. So.
Shit, though, to get back to some more news going on. This is basically a news show. People were just kind of running down some stuff that's been going on, you know, and we got word of recently, so, well, you know, we got word of in the last day or two. And it's huge.
Yeah, it's shocking because it's close. You know, we've been fucking chomping at the bit for it. It's the Nurmagomedov. You know, that happened like right after it was announced, so you really didn't have time to process it and get excited about it.
Right.
But now part 2.
We were real excited.
Alexander because the first one was so damn close. Yeah. Alexander Gustafson versus John Bones Jones is now canceled, which, you know, you can get, you know, down in the dumps, but then you hear who's taking his place. And then it doesn't truly make up for the Gus, because I really wanted to see the Gus Jones too, you know, and then probably DC, whoever after, I would have been happy with. But now Dan Cormier comes in, he steps in, he's called upon, he's going to be ready. So we're not going to have to hear about, I only had 2 weeks to fucking get ready. He's going to have time to get ready. And besides Gus, man, if anybody can take down fucking Bones, it's going to be DC, dude. If DC can get into Bones's, get close and get him from his reach, dude. You know how Bones likes to keep his opponent away. I know he likes to do the eye poke shit and all that, but he's keeping his opponent. Man. Yeah, because I think if Bones tries his little, you know, get the guy against the ropes and fucking knee him, it's not going to work as well with fucking DC, because DC's going to have that tight clinch, bro, and he's going to be trying to take his ass down with that low center of gravity. So Bones better watch his fucking ass, because DC is crazy strong, dude, and crazy quick for a guy his size. So he just has to close that gap and get close, because if fucking Bones keeps him at bay, it's going to be a long night for Cormier, and it's going to be a bloody night. So I just think he needs to close that gap.
Yeah, you know what? I don't see a flashy Bones Jones will not happen. It's going to be a very careful Bones Jones. He's going to probably try to land with very important strikes. You know, probably very quick. You know what I mean? He better have a good jab too, because you got to hold. You know, this is a serious dude. You want to hold off. And if he does decide to do anything flashy, Cormier is going to be banking on that, you know what I mean? And he's going to see that and rush in. Even if he's got to take the back of Jones' knee to his head or something like that, or the back of Jones' thigh to his head, in order to grab a hold of him and shake his ass down to the mat and start working on him, you know. Once he gets a hold of him, I think he's in serious fucking trouble. Personally, I'm picking Cormier, because I mean the way Cormier's been folding people up like lawn chairs. And throwing them around like bitches, you know, that you don't see with anybody else. I think this guy's got total advantage. Compact power, good chin. You could strike all over this dude. He's got good head movement. You know what I mean? Not you know, completely amazing, but this guy, like I've said in the past, man, sick center of gravity. For this guy's height, weight, and everything. I mean, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's just he's a very well gifted athlete for the exact body type he has. You know, it's just sick.
World class athlete, man. World class wrestler. So
yeah.
It's like
this is I'm just thinking this is probably next to Gustaffson. This is probably the other Achilles heel right here. You know what I mean? It's nasty, man. Really.
And you know what? It's like I don't think Bones is going to be able to handle if it goes against the cage, man, and they're fucking matching up against each other, looking for, you know, either Cormier getting in there with some fucking uppercuts and dirty boxing, kind of like he was doing with Mir and fucking Barnett. I don't think that Jones can handle his low center of gravity. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can wrap him up, you know, and try to stall or whatever. But I mean, you know, with Jones, you know, lanky frame and long arms, it's not like he can land elbows like a Cormier would in close counters. You know what I mean? Close quarters. Close quarters, you know, Cormier can be right in his face and still be dropping elbows, you know, where John Jones' arms are so long and his reach is so vast. You know what I mean? He can't throw those as easy, and so I mean, if he gets Jones up against a cage, it's going to be a ugly sight. You know what I mean? I just hope it doesn't come to the point where there's too many. Cormier gets him down, and then the ref lets him back up. Cormier gets him down, ref, you know, because then you're you know, exerting all this energy and you're playing into Jones's, you know, what helps Jones. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're playing into Jones's game plan, exactly. I was going to say you're playing into what aren't his weaknesses, but you know, because it's, for lack of a better term, but yeah, you're playing into his game plan. It's like I don't want to see any fucking favorite bullshit. I don't want to see any of that crap.
No,
it's bullshit. I don't want to see any of it because Cormier is a guy that deserves a fucking shot. If there's anybody else besides Gustaffson, it's Cormier that deserves a shot. You know, and they've.
Yeah, you're right.
But I'm sorry, man. Kick it off.
No,
bro.
You're right. No, I'm saying anybody that deserves a shot, it's fucking Cormier, and he does. It's like you said, it's like 1A, 1B. You know, if it wasn't going to be Gus, it was going to be DC. So DC just moves up. That's it. It's disappointing, but it's also exciting. So I think DC is going to come in here, and I think he's going to use the center of gravity, dude. I think fucking Bones Jones is going to be hitting his back, dude. He's going to have to learn how to fucking fight out of the guard, bro.
Yeah. I think
he's going to have to learn how to fight out of his guard on this one because Cormier is bringing this bitch to his world, and that's the ground.
We could see a John Jones submission. Who knows? You know what I mean? This guy's full of surprises. He really is. You know, I will never take that away from this. Mm-hmm. John Jones full of surprises, but he's been full of surprises with guys that aren't like Cormier. Cormier's a fucking monster, and I see Cormier taking this. You know what I mean? I might, you know, sort out a little bit and have a different opinion, you know, later on. But yeah, man. Before we put a cap on this one, man, go ahead and say whatever else you got.
Right now, I'm still going with the champ. Just because the champ, he's fucking put down all comers, and like I'll probably have a different opinion probably before we do our pick show, but I'm gonna go with the champ right now. But this is, like you said, this might be his kryptonite, this might be his Achilles heel. We're gonna see. I'm gonna have to look into it a little bit more before our pick show, but we'll probably be talking about it some more before that.
Like I said, it's a very tough fight to call, man, but to get back to it, shit. There's just so much stuff to talk about. We're trying to go through it at a decent pace here, man, but
Dwayne Rock Johnson came out and said that his buddy
Anthony Johnson, baby.
Buddies with Anthony Rumble Johnson, says he's going to be the next fucking the next champ. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, he mentioned.
Actually, it says Rock is buddies with John Jones, but he predicts Anthony Rumble Johnson will be the next light heavyweight champ.
He is. Oh yeah, that's right. He's taking on Little Nog. Yeah, you just said that.
He's gonna fucking wipe the mat up with fucking Little Nog. If not, like you said, like you're predicting, he had an off night then.
A horribly off night. Yeah, Little Nog has got a good record. I mean, but it's with guys that they're not at the level of a Anthony Johnson that we've seen of lately. You know what I mean? We're talking about, he beat Rashad Evans. Obviously, anybody that thinks Rashad Evans was having a good night, there's no fucking way. Rashad Evans looked like crap that night, even though I'm a huge fan of the guy. And the guy, we've seen that guy just devastate people. I mean, i.e. Chael Sonnen, just one of them, and Tito Ortiz is another. And he's beat Rashad Evans, Tito Ortiz. He lost to Phil Davis, lost to Ryan Bader, Jason Brills, Louise Kane, Dean Starring, Matt Yushenko. I mean, there's a whole host of middle-of-the-road guys that he's fought. And it's, sorry, man. I mean, I hate to say it. It's really not, gigantically impressive, But he's 21-5. You know what I mean? He's 21-5 is a great record, man. I mean, no matter who you are. But all you got to do is look at it. His UFC career, he's faced guys that, Phil Davis, which he lost to, Tito Ortiz he beat, which who the fuck in 2011, Tito Ortiz ain't beating anybody, but
unless he drops down a weight class, he looks like a giant.
Right. Or he gets a surprise choke on a Ryan Bader, which Ryan Bader, at that point, Ryan Bader still had some stuff to learn, and that was just Ryan Bader got himself in a bad situation, man. I mean, straight up. And Tito Ortiz fucking capitalized on it. I mean, I can't even take anything away from Tito from that fight, but I don't want to go too far off path here, but it's just Anthony. I agree, man. I think Anthony Johnson. I don't know about titles, winning a championship, but I think he is I think he'll get there, and he'll have a shot. Whether he'll get it or not, who knows? But I think he's a fucking monster, and he's got a damn good shot. It's funny they even talked about Rock considered a MMA career and shit like that. I gotta wonder how much better it would have been than Brock. Probably better, man. I don't know, but I don't know. Shit, who the fuck would know? You know what I mean? But, as of lately, man, Anthony Johnson's faced more formidable opponents, man. I mean, Jake Rosholt. Well, I can't say Arlovsky, but he has faced Arlovsky. Mike Kyle. Mike Kyle's not a world beater, as you would say. And then he beat Phil Davis. Everybody expected Phil Davis to win that fight. And he just ruined Phil Davis's ass, for 3 rounds solid. But, anyhow, man, like I said, I don't want to give this too much time, but
now who is this over in Strikeforce? Brett Cooper
in Bellator.
Yeah, Bellator. I get that shit mixed up all the time.
I do the same shit, man.
But he says I don't appreciate Tito Ortiz picking on the 185 division.
Yeah,
if I do win this fight and Shmenko wants rest, I wouldn't mind whipping his ass.
Brett Cooper said that?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Just don't get fucking put down by his fucking big ass. You'll be fine.
Yeah, don't hit the ground,
Because after he makes weight, he's fucking going straight to fucking Golden Corral.
Yeah.
He's packing on 15, 20 for fight night.
Maybe Cooper should do the same. It's so funny, too, because every time I go to a certain page, they still have it listed that way. I saw it like 2 weeks ago, and they still have it listed as Brett Copper. I'm thinking, man, are you fucking guys serious, man? For 2 weeks now, you guys haven't noticed you spelled it wrong? Come on, man. Brett Copper's taking on fucking what's his nuts. One thing I do want to point out, man, as we're moving along here, Jessica I is open to fighting UFC's brand new girl, Holly Holm. And that could be a really, really badass fight, man. That could be really, really good, man. Jessica Evil Eye taking on Holly Holm. That could be pretty sick. because Holly Holm is a hell of a striker, and Jessica Ai is she grows pretty badass too. I mean, she says she's open to it, so obviously she's calling her out. You know, she's got to get her name out there and say, hey man, I'd fight this chick. You know, why else wouldn't she want to? You know what I mean? You know, and Dana might put that right on and say, hell yeah, let's get that together. You know what I mean? The winner gets, you know, whatever. You know. But just some new news going around. I thought this was a trip, dude. Did you have anything you wanted to say on that?
No, go for it.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off, man. But Joe Riggs, which we haven't seen Joe Riggs in UFC in a long time. He's replacing Mike Rhodes at UFC Fight Night 51.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of cool.
With Paul Thiago.
Yeah, Joe Riggs is a tough dude. I mean, he's a vet too. He's been in a long time, dude. Joe Riggs goes back to, you know, early UFC days. You know what I mean? So that's cool. Very cool, I think. As you might have said back in the day, which I always thought was funny. I don't know if you said it all that much, but you said Amir Shadala, which is it almost sounded like you were ragging on him, but anyway, it's Nico Musoki, which we've seen this guy fight recently. He's taken on Amir Shadala, which I haven't seen. Have we seen Amir Shadala in the last 17 years? And this guy's been absent for how long now? But that's set up for in Stockholm for UFC Fight Night 53. So that should be interesting. You know, Amir Shadala. But that should be interesting anyway. But what else you got, bro? That's another comment that Anthony Johnson threw out there too. They asked him about his first UFC stint, which before he got cut or whatever for missing weight and shit like that. He said I was a different dude back then. You know, so I think it's really good when guys get cut and they have that opportunity to, okay, now I got to reassess if I'm going to be fucking serious about this and get back in, you know, back in the, you know, on the big stage. Now's the time. I got to do it now, and he's proven that, you know, he's one of them guys that's doing it right now. So, and it's awesome. I was a different dude back then, and I would agree, man, because I'm not sure you'd see him handling a Phil Davis so easily like that. You know, he's really reassessed, put himself back into a good training status, you know, with whoever he's training with. I really don't know. I you know, I don't have any sheets in front of me about who he's training with, but the guy looks just top notch right now. But so what do you got going on with Dustin Poirier, man? Just finishing up my beverage here. You know what? Why don't we take a break, dude, and we'll get back to it in a couple minutes here, man.
I do want to go over Khabib and his injury too. So we'll be right back, people.
Yeah, that's a good segue you got right there. So yeah, sweet. We shall be right back.
Got an update on Khabib here. Nurmagomedov. He blew out his ACL, so he just fixed it up, had surgery, and he's going to be out until he's not coming back at least till 2015, is what they're saying. So it's a big hit. Sucks it happened, but Khabib's the kind of guy that we could put in the category. Since he got injured during training, maybe a guy that overtrains a little bit too much, like we've been talking about. Like when we had that one year, I think it was last year, we had all of the injuries, and we're like, are these guys overtraining? You know, it's like, I know you got to train for a fight, but do you have to train that hard? You know, every day,
right?
You know,
so
it's
you training for 6 guys or 1 guy. I mean, come on here.
Look at Dominic Cruz. You know, it's this guy over here has been out for fucking 3 years now. So
he must take a hammer to his hand or something trying to strengthen it. I don't get it. I don't get how you could be out that long. But I don't know. I don't follow everything that goes on with that guy. But he's had, you know, his hand injuries or whatever has been so prominent in his career, I guess. But I'm excited that right now it's said that he's supposed to be back, which I'm not even sure I buy it just yet, but that's the news that he's supposed to be back. So
yeah, who knows? He said he's come back. He wanted to come back like 2 or 3 times. So it's to be seen.
Check it out here, man. Bellator champ Will Brooks lying low during transition. She's talking about the Coca era coming through, but still wants Eddie Alvarez, man. And Will Brooks, man, that dude, like I said, man, when the shit went down and it happened, Will Brooks, at that point I was like, okay, cool, man, they threw a guy in here, and fucking Bellator never told me who the fuck Will Brooks was. You know what I mean? That's why they were so horrible at bringing their fighters to the forefront and letting you know who these guys are. By the time this guy won the fucking championship, I'm like, who's this guy? Who is this guy? Oh, okay, he just won the fucking title. So, I mean, that tells me there's a serious fucking problem with Bellator, and they're making every fucking smart decision at this point, to me. I mean, it's bringing Scott Coker in at this point, you got guys like Will Brooks that look as good as they do, and nobody knows who the fuck this guy, I shouldn't say nobody. Die-hard Bellator fans probably know who this guy is. But Bellator is so bad. I mean, they have been so bad at bringing their fighters, and letting people know who they are, that no fucking wonder, I didn't know who the guy was. Because it's like, even in news sites, there's so many of them. How the fuck can you not know who Will Brooks is? Bellator has failed to make note of their top fighters and their champions, or could be champions. I mean, really, they've made it's been a total failure. So the decisions they've made, in terms of Viacom and whatnot, making decisions to see Bjorn out of it, is a very good thing in my opinion. Some people don't like it, you know what I mean? But I think people are going to see the new product and get real excited about it and get behind it and see that it's going to compete with, the few other promotions out there around the world that are really, really doing good right now. You know what I mean? Whether it's regionally or, nationally or whatnot, and really start making it stink. Because how could you have the leader of Strikeforce, which UFC had no choice to buy him? How could you see that guy not doing good all over again? So I don't know, just a little more of a jumping behind Scott Coker. But I wanted to at least point that out, man. This guy's laying on the sidelines right now during the whole transition period, but he still wants Eddie Alvarez, man. Which that would be a cool fight, man. So, but wanted to point that out. A big old news show we're doing. So, but kick it off, dude.
Yeah, and I read it. I can't find it. The link is not posted right now, but I did read it earlier. Dana White issued a statement about Stefan Struve's condition, and basically, like we were, we called it too, because we're like, he's going to come out and say he needs to fucking go soul searching and all this, and that's basically, in so many words, what he said. He needs to go consult with his family because he needs to prove to us, all the doctors and stuff, and because we do not need anything like that ever happening again. And what I'm talking about is basically Stefan Struve feigning minutes before his fucking fight. So,
or dropping in the middle of the cage. Nobody needs that, man. That's a huge black eye. We don't need that shit.
Yeah, we ran that down.
Yeah, we did.
Dude, it's almost like verbatim, dude. It's like, holy shit. So Stefan Struve, we love you, brother. And just like we said on the show that we were saying all this shit, maybe it's time to, go into a coaching aspect or something, a mentorship, because this shit's serious, man. You got shit wrong with your heart, like something wrong with your aortic valve, that's
serious, man. It's very serious, very scary, and there's no reason why he shouldn't be extended some kind of a deal with UFC or a deal with somebody to where he can work in the gyms with some guys, or or even a commentary spot. I don't know. You know, I have no idea how good he's going to be on something like that. But to be involved with something, some decision making, something somewhere. And this kid's a very smart kid, and he's very good at what he does. You know, and he's been a big part of UFC for what? I mean, 5-6 years now, probably more than that. Really, I mean. I don't have a full handle on his entire career in the UFC, but
I don't know if you heard about this, but I don't know if it's a fucking made-up internet rumor, but Dana White was thinking about a super heavyweight division. So
Dana White was thinking about it?
Yep. The UFC having a super heavyweight division.
Where's he been, man? We've been talking about that for fucking decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, decades.
No, we've been talking about it.
We've been talking about that for a long time, yeah. Brock Lesnar is super heavyweight, okay, guys? Brock Lesnar doesn't take on Randy Couture, okay? And that's fucking stupid. You know what I mean?
No, and that's a good point, because as soon as you brought up that name, because I've been scratching my head thinking, why in the fuck would he really want to do that, and what kind of talent's out there? But as soon as you said fucking Brock Lesnar, dude, it's like
steadfast.
God beer.